The third trumpet will see a great star falling from the sky, and it poisons a third of rivers and springs, causing many to die. This star is given the name Wormwood.
What if his appearance occurs on a Sunday morning? My prophetic word to you this morning is get ready! Get ready!
A planet-killer asteroid has been spotted in Earth's vicinity, the biggest in years. I'm serious about this, can't make it up. We could be on a collision course many years from now. The thing is, scientists aren't sure exactly when. CNN space and defense correspondent Kristen Fisher is here to explain. Just how worried should we be, Kristen?
Well, you know, Anna, these asteroids definitely pose a risk, but it's a different risk. But I tell you what's more concerning is almost how they were found. There were 3 large near-Earth asteroids that have been hidden by the glare of the sun, kind of lurking there, and it really poses a problem for telescopes on the ground that are critical for spotting these potentially Earth problem-causing asteroids, or asteroids that pose problems for Earth. You have to use telescopes to spot them. And so astronomers found these 3 asteroids. 2 of them are big enough that they are categorized as planet killers, which means that they are about 1 kilometer or 0.6 miles across. And one of those asteroids is the largest potentially hazardous asteroid to be discovered in the last 8 years. And it does have an orbit that could come close to Earth at some point. We just don't know when, likely many generations from now, but certainly could pose a threat down the road. And this is something that happened back in 2019, something very similar, where astronomers noticed a potentially dangerous asteroid just a few days before it made a very close pass to Earth. And so, Anna, we've talked a lot about NASA's DART mission recently, this mission to slam a spacecraft into an asteroid and push it off course. NASA was successful in doing that, but in order to make that technology successful, Anna, you have to find the asteroid. You have to see it well in advance. And the reason the discovery announced today is so concerning is because these asteroids, again, just snuck up on astronomers, so it would not allow NASA the time to deploy the kind of technology that was successfully used during that DART mission, Anna.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess we'll track it. We'll see what happens. This is kind of alarming.
I intend to share undisclosed facts that are stranger and scarier than most people can comprehend, and it is going to shake the public to the bone. And yes, this involves a cover-up of the highest order by national space agencies, including NASA.
The asteroid is 100% certain to strike Earth, according to one space expert who says this is a matter of life and death.
You'd probably have millions of casualties. Is a planet-killing asteroid a possibility? NASA has determined that the threat is real.
And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And many men died of the waters.
Chief technology experts and working scientists agree with me. But what's more concerning is that this was prophesied in the Bible for the end times.
Generally, they last for 2.5 to 3 hours, so there's quite a bit to hear. Now, Michael is a very well-respected man with extensive knowledge of the Planet X system and how it's affecting our planet today. Now, according to Michael, our little green friend, Comet ZTF, there may have been more to this comet than some of us may have realized. In fact, according to Michael, this comet may have very well been a sign from the heavens. I'd like to share with you just a couple of clips of what Michael had to say about Comet ZTF.
Well, I think one of the biggest things is that when we see it, right? When we see it, that's the purpose. It's almost like a reminder. And green is certainly a color of warning, believe it or not. Believe it or not. It doesn't matter if a person sees a green orb, a green comet, a green glow. It always comes right before a devastation, a massive change. Every single time. And I believe that because the whole world saw it, right? The true purpose was that we would see it, us. Because some of these, like in Genesis, God set everything in the heavens, the stars in the heavens and all these things for signs and for seasons. Those words are for signals. Those signs are signals and appointed times. God put all that in place for us. The word came first, and then the heavens were modeled after the word. So then that means God doesn't do anything accidentally. Everything he did has purpose. I strongly believe in that. Then everything in the heavens has a purpose. And because we can all see it, it causes us to look into the heavens in a very different way, sparks our curiosity. The average person will say, ooh, that's nice, and then they go back. We're the first ones that will say, does this mean anything? Every time I've seen this happen, something major follows, something that directly impacts Christianity, it seems. They're almost like preparatory signs. Now, the greater ones will come because a lot of people are not going to pay attention to it. They'll say, well, it's just happenstance. I don't believe there's happenstance in God's creation. I don't believe that. Everything is purpose. We don't know the reason why. But things are not acting right in the heavens. They're just not. Why would the sun react to a comet? And then, of course, with some of the forces that the spacecraft are beginning to experience, and by the way, have experienced, even with Voyagers 1 and 2, there is a perturber out there. So in other words, there's something pulling at the Earth and satellites and all sorts of things that should not exist, although it's been very constant. Now that force, that pull is becoming stronger and stronger, and now it's starting to shift in its angle. And what that means is, if two suns are in proximity, right, they could be light years away, still in proximity, a power exchange takes place right after that. But it also comes with gaseous clouds, with more and more comets and meteorites that are not coming from normal directions. I think we spoke about 5 weeks ago about two objects which had a very high and unusual arc that went over our solar system. Now, I think I also stated that you won't hear anything about it unless it's going to be seen. And then they'll always say, wow, this came out of nowhere. We're just finding this. The truth is, they have tracked many objects, right? Many objects out there. They just don't use one portion of the light spectrum in infrared. They use that whole band now. They also use blue. It's not infrared. It's a blue band. So that kind of scares folks when you show that they don't want to see the blue, because those objects are the ones that are not supposed to exist. It shows too much. And so what we have is most certainly, we have a protected solar system in a way that would fascinate anybody. It didn't matter what level of belief they're at, it would just fascinate an individual. It would also defeat the ideology that somehow the universe just coalesced from a bunch of molting rocks. They would throw that out. Because we have a shielding in a way of rocks that maintains a pattern all the time. No matter how they're interrupted, they always reorientate, and it's not based on magnetic field lines. It's an amazing thing. But we're going to experience more and more debris coming in at a very high angle to our solar system as this secondary system comes in. We likely may not see the fullness of this second sun, but we're certainly going to experience it. But we're going to have a lot of examples of inbound intruders like this. This is just one of quite a few coming in. Plus, there's something else coming in also. It's an actual big rock. Likely see an ocean impact from that. I'm hoping an ocean impact. I don't control it, so I don't know. But we'll get closer to a track as it comes in. I have no idea how they're going to cover it. I suspect how they will. But normally they report things like that are somewhat benign that may hit in the ocean, even cause lots of damage. They may say, we didn't see it coming, this, that, and the other. So that means that entire topic is going to become unpopular during that time. Now, this is how counterintelligence works. They work with psychiatrists, behavioral scientists, and psychologists. And what they'll do is begin a type of rhetoric out there in the media, things like that, causing people not to even think about inbound asteroids or anything else. Hollywood will also be a large part of it. All news media outlets, every single talk show, you name it, they're going to be in on it. They're going to receive directives, and they'll start leaving certain subjects alone. Well, in our populace, if you don't talk about a certain subject, it does not exist. Based on the size at its distance right now, it could be, it's going to cause some issues. Right? It's not going to be a world killer. Certainly be an example that we're not living in the place we used to have 5 years ago. We're going to encounter more and more large events coming. I mean, some large events, very large events. People will see things pass in the heavens. In fact, there are a couple of, I'll say, shadows out there, which will likely skim our atmosphere, and everybody on Earth will likely see it go right past the Earth, and it will cast a shadow over the Earth. So imagine that one. You can't really dodge that.
Now, I would love to say that I hope Michael is wrong, but the catch to that statement would be, Michael is very rarely ever wrong. When Michael gives you a date and tells you to look forward to something happening, you can almost set your clock to it. Let us know what you have to say in the comments below. We always want to know what you have to say about these topics. Do you believe our world leaders would try to keep this kind of information suppressed from the public? At least until there's no way to suppress it anymore? As always, thank you very much for watching the WTF Files, and we'll see you on the next one. God bless you all.